Hey everybody, how's it going? Today I'm going to be changing out the front wheel hub bearing on my 2019 GMC Canyon. I've suspected I have a failing wheel bearing on the front end of my GMC Canyon for a couple of weeks now, and I've narrowed it down. I've had the tires rotated, had them checked and balanced. The tire shop says the tires are fine. I've taken these brakes off and cleaned them and looked at them and inspected them. It's not any sort of hanging caliper or anything like that, so my CV axles look good. The next step here is replacing wheel bearings. The culprit is, I think, this driver's side, but I also already replaced my passenger side before making this video just to get the process down, and that passenger side one sounded a little crunchy. It's subtle, you can feel it in your hands when you rotate the bearing. I'm going to walk you through this process to replace the wheel bearing. If you are in a rust belt state, I would take it to a shop. Don't even try this in your garage. Luckily, I live in the south. I was able to get everything off without any issues whatsoever on the passenger side when I did that one. I feel like I'll have no problem on this side as well. Keep that in mind, the rust makes these parts that you're going to be working on really, really difficult. The first step here is removing this brake caliper. It's held on to the knuckle on the back side with 2 bolts. They are 18 millimeter, so I'm going to start by removing those now. Actually, my first step is going to be removing the 2 brake pads just to make the caliper easier to get off. You technically don't have to take off the brake pads, but I am going to grease these up and clean the insides of these anyways while I'm in here. These are really, really easy. These 4-piston calipers are held in with 2 slide pins right here and here, and each slide pin has a little cotter pin that holds it in place. So you just need to grab it with a set of pliers and remove the cotter pins. You might need to rotate the slide pins a little bit by grabbing the edges here so that you can get to the head of the cotter pin, like that. And then just remove them. Save those because you're going to reuse them. Next, you can gently slide the slide pins out of the caliper, like that. And we're going to clean these up and lubricate them with brake grease before we reinstall everything at the end. So we will reuse these unless you want to buy new ones. They are perfectly fine to reuse as long as you clean them up and grease them. So save these. And then this part here is like a spring. You just pull this off. We're going to reuse this as well. Next, we're going to pull out the 2 brake pads. They're on either side of the disc here. I'm just going to use a pair of channel locks and gently pry them back from the disc, just enough so that I can slide them out. So there's 1. And there's 2. And you can see these brake pads are still in really, really good shape. This truck only has 31,000 miles on it, so I will be reusing these brake pads. The 2 bolts that hold the caliper to the knuckle are right here and right here. They are 18 millimeter, and you're gonna probably need a breaker bar to break them loose. Just be careful of the brake line here. You don't want to damage it. Right now I have my wheel turned so that the brake caliper is facing outwards towards me. That gives you more access to get to these 2 bolts. We're going to reuse these bolts later, but you're going to need to clean them up and reapply some thread locker to them. So save these and we'll clean them up later. Now you can remove the brake caliper, and it's important not to hang the brake caliper by the brake line or else you can stretch it and damage it. So you need to hang the caliper in a safe spot where it's not going to fall. I have these little hooks that my wife uses these to hang plants around the house. They seem to work pretty good to just slot into one of those holes for the slide pins, and then there's a hole right here on the bump stop that I can hang it on. So there's a convenient hole on the bump stop right there that I use, and it hooks on to one of those slide pin holes. Brake line is not flexed and you won't damage it. I'm going to straighten the wheel back out. You're going to have to turn the wheel a lot during this process. Once for the brakes, and then you'll have to do it to get to the back of the bolts on the wheel bearing, loosening and tightening. So be prepared to put your key in your ignition. Don't start your truck, but just put the key in, turn it to accessory, and that'll give power to the steering motor that'll allow you to turn these 2 wheels. So that also means you need to have the vehicle fully jacked up both sides. So you can see I've got my jack stands and my jack holding up the front of the truck. Both wheels are off of the front right now, and it just makes it really easy to turn the wheels. Next step here is removing this little torque screw that's holding the brake disc to the hub. This is a little T30 Torx screw. Like I said, rust belt people, you're probably going to have a tough time with some of these fasteners. Mine came off really easy, and that one came off really easy as well. We are going to reuse this, so save it for later. All right, so here's a good look at the back side of the bearing where the seals are. You can see there's a bunch of grease in there that is forming around the seals of the bearing, and it's all over the knuckle. And then if you actually go to the back side where the CV is and look into where the CV goes into the hub, there's black grease all over in there too. So that's what makes me think that this bearing is going bad. Maybe a seal let go and it's allowing dirt and road debris to get in there, and it's just messing it up and making it fail. So it doesn't sound bad. That's more or less the rubber of the CV making noise, but it feels a little crunchy. Once I get it off, I'll be able to compare it to one of the new ones I have, and we'll see. All right, the next step here is removing this axle nut, which is a 35 millimeter. This is a 35 millimeter axle socket. I rented this kit from my local auto parts store. Here's that axle nut. I did buy new ones because the service manual that I have says to replace the axle nut when you swap out either the axle or the wheel bearing. So I did have a new one. They're relatively cheap. I'll post the part number for these in the description box below. All right, here's where it gets a little tricky. So I rented this hub bearing puller to use in this process, but unfortunately it doesn't fit this lug pattern. It says it was a universal fit, and it should have fit 6 lug vehicles, but this one from my local auto parts doesn't fit. And that's really so you can push this axle shaft back, because on the backside of the knuckle, it interferes with the 4 bolts that are holding the wheel bearing hub to the knuckle. So you need to push the axle backwards so you can get clearance on the backside of the knuckle to get to the 13 millimeter bolts that are holding this wheel bearing on. I was able to do the other side without this tool. It's a little cumbersome, but it can be done without it. I would recommend getting one that fits. There's a GM one that fits. I'll post the part number for the GM one that I could have bought, but decided not to. So this is what I was talking about. This is one of the 13 millimeter bolts that's holding the wheel hub to the knuckle. There's 4 of them. So there's 2 up top here, there's 1 here, and then there's another one on the other side. They're all 13 millimeter, but you can see from the CV axle that is right next to it, you really can't get your socket in there very solidly. You have to push that axle backwards so you can get better clearance to get your socket onto these. Using that puller tool, that would be really helpful because it will hold that CV axle back while you're working. I just took a hammer and hammered back my CV axle until I had enough room, and then I could sort of wiggle my way to get these off. There is a washer that we're going to reuse that is with the axle nut, so save this one and use it with your new axle nut. So I've got that axle pushed back just a little bit more so that I can probably get my socket on there a little better. So I'm using a combination of a 13 millimeter socket and then a little swivel extension, and it helps get in there and loosen those screws. So there's one. But you'll find if you don't push the axle back far enough, you can't get those bolts out because they hit the CV axle right here. So you just have to wait till you have them all loosened, and then when you pop off the wheel bearing on the front, you can get those out. So I've got these 2 out. Now I'm going to turn my steering wheel again so I can get to the other 2 on the other side. Now I've got those 4 bolts loosened and removed. I should be able to just swivel this off. And there we go. Obviously remove this brake shield, and we're going to clean it up and reuse it. And now you should be able to get your 4 bolts out on the back side of the knuckle. The grease inside of the hub bore there is normal. They put some grease in there from the factory just so that when you're taking them out, like just now, they aren't seized. So good on GM for doing that. So now you need to spend some time with brake clean and just clean this whole area. Alright, so I've got this all cleaned up with brake clean, all the old grease is cleaned off, and I'm ready to start installing the new wheel bearing. Before you install the new wheel bearing, you need to apply a light coat of grease on the inside of the hub bore here, just like GM did from the factory. That just helps keep this from seizing and make it easier for replacement down the line. I just have some of this Valvoline multi-vehicle grease, seems to work pretty good. Make sure you get high temp grease because, you know, wheel bearings get hot. I'm just gonna slather in a little bit. You don't need to go crazy hog wild. Just a light coat on the inside of the hub bore is good enough. And just for reference, this is the speed sensor. If you ever need to replace that, you don't need to remove the entire wheel bearing to get to it. It's just on the side of the knuckle here with the same T30 Torx bolt, and it's easy to get to when you just remove the wheel. You can get to it if you turn the wheel. I'm just gonna also coat the front here where the mating surface is gonna be, just to give an extra layer of protection. And you can see I'm not going heavy. I'm just kind of coating it just a little bit. Alright, so now I'm ready to install the new wheel bearing, which I've got here. I'm using an original GM part number. I'll post it in the description box below. These are AC Delco, but they are made by genuine GM. There is also AC Delco Gold and AC Delco Silver, which are aftermarket. They're made by other companies that are branded as AC Delco. So just keep that in mind when you're searching for parts. If you want original, make sure you get the genuine GM AC Delco and not the AC Delco Gold or AC Delco Silver. Those are aftermarket. So off camera, I cleaned up the bolts that mount the wheel bearing, and I've applied some thread locking compound to them already. Just spend some time with a wire brush and clean off the old thread locking compound. So I've got these. I'm going to start threading them in from the back so that I can install the new bearing. Got those bolts inserted from the backside. Got my dust shield cleaned off. I'm going to place it over the bolts, not pushing them all back. And the next part is a little tricky. You got to lift up the bearing and line it up on the splines here, the axle shaft, and then also tighten the bolts from the backside. So it's a little difficult, especially because the bearings are heavy. I mean, they probably weigh 20 or 25 pounds a piece. So Alright, so now that I've got these bolts snugged up by hand, I'm going to torque them down with my torque wrench. The bolts are 13 millimeters and they are 96 foot-pounds. Sorry, my camera died when I was torquing down the two on this side, but you get the idea. Torque them to 96 foot-pounds. All right, I'm going to straighten this wheel back out again so that I can install the axle nut on the front here. All right, so I've got the washer that I took off from earlier, and then my new nut. I'm going to thread into place. And I'm not going to fully be able to tighten this one right now, because if you try to tighten it, the bearing is just going to spin. So I'm just going to get it threaded and started for the most part, and then we're going to tighten it up later. Alright, that's good enough for me. I've got it threaded on just enough, so now I can start to reinstall the brake disc and the caliper. You need to line up a hole on the disc with one of these, and there's two, but only one of them fits. So just get the wrong one the first time, try the second one. And we're going to reuse this T30 screw from earlier. And the torque spec for this is 80 inch-pounds, which is not a lot, so just kind of snug it up. One thing I want to mention is make sure you clean off your rotor, both back and front, before you finally install your brake pads, because your hands are probably covered with grease and you've been touching the rotor, so you just need to make sure you clean them off. and I already did the back side. All right, now I'm going to install the brake caliper. So I'm once again going to turn the wheel so that I can get access to the back side of the knuckle. All right, so I've got my caliper, going to line it up, and I've got my caliper bolts, which I cleaned off and applied new thread locker to, and I'm just going to thread them into place. And again, these are 18 millimeter. All right, so now I'm going to reinstall the brake pads, and before I do that, I'm going to apply a little bit of brake grease to some contact points on the pads themselves. So like along the top here, there's 2 spots, and then along the bottom, there's 2 spots. And I've just got some AGS Sil Glide that I'm going to put a little bit on. You don't need a lot, just a little bit. And make sure you don't get it on the face of the pad. And then I'm just going to slot these in. There's one. And just so you know, there is a difference between the inner and outer pad. The outer pad has this little clip thing on it. I think that's a wear indicator, so when your brakes get too low, this will start to scrape on the rotor. So this goes on the outside spot. All right, now I'm going to grease up the slide pins with that same brake grease, and I'll be reinserting them from the inside of the caliper. So just take your brake grease and put a little bit on there and lubricate that slide pin. Then I'm going to install this first one, and you need your little spring thing here, and it goes right in over the top of the brake pads and then slide in the hole of the brake pad itself, and then right here you're going to push and keep pushing the slide pin through, and then use your finger from the back side of the pad and line up that other hole and push it through all the way. There we go. All right, I'm going to do the same thing on this other slide pin for the bottom. I'm going to grease up just a little bit. Then I'm going to insert it in from the inside of the caliper, push on the spring a little bit, and then get it all the way through. But now we need to install the little cotter pins that we took out from earlier, and you need to line up the hole on the slide pin and insert the cotter pin. That one was lined up already, and then this one I need to turn. I'm going to install the cotter pin. So now the brakes are reinstalled. I can turn this wheel back straight again, and we're going to tighten up the axle nut for the final time. All right, so we're going to tighten up this axle nut for the final time. The torque spec is 185 foot-pounds. In order to keep the brake and the hub from spinning, you can take a screwdriver and insert it in between the vents on the rotor. And then when you start to spin, it will lock itself up against this caliper. The other side's a little different because you have to put it in from the other side to tighten, but this one you can put in from the top. All right, so I've got it tight. Now I'm going to actually torque it. There's going to be about 5 or so threads showing. There's 185 and one for good measure. The passenger side is identical to the driver's side, and that's really all there is. Here are my old bearings, guys, and you know, I don't know if this is what they're normally supposed to look like, but there's just, I don't know if that's brake dust and grease combined, but definitely something not right. This is the passenger side one. I guess we'll find out once I go for a drive. And that's all there is to replace the wheel hub bearing on your GMC Canyon or Chevy Colorado. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Love it if you subscribe. Stay tuned for new videos. We'll see you next time. Later.